Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Monday, the 28th of November. Good to have you aboard. However you're listening to the program, you're on iTunes, you're on Spotify, Google, iHeart, you're watching on the YouTube channel. I can't name everything, all right? We'll be here all day. But however you're listening, I love you long time. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that stuff for the algorithm, all right? I don't know how the algorithm works, but the algorithm gets me the monies. So you make sure you do all of that, and then I love you long time. So, we got some catching up to do here. Man, it has been a week since I've done ZASLOW Show 2.0. We had It Still Real to Me over the weekend. Great weekend of pro wrestling, WWE Survivor Series War Games. Appreciate everybody listening to the recap show, the normal show on Saturday, and then we did a bonus reaction show, me and Joey Levine, on Sunday night. So if you haven't checked that out, our pro wrestling fans out there, it's right here under your ZASLOW Show 2.0 feed, bonus episode reaction to War Games last night. So that was me getting back in the saddle, getting back in the flow, getting back in the mix there, as I haven't done this show in a week. So what happened last time we spoke? And we got a lot to get to here today, because besides that, I wasn't off. I was on vacation, okay? Besides that, for the last week, I haven't done the show. It's a Monday. That means we got a ton going on. We got our full NFL rundown. We got a Dolphins win from yesterday. The Heat. Is the fun about to start? I don't know. We got the Heat. We got the Panthers, where it's one step forward, two steps back. I'm so angry at them. They're back in action again tonight. And most important, we got brand new sponsors on the show, new friends of the program. We're going to introduce them all to you throughout the show today. It's all coming together, all right? And if you're interested in advertising, partnering, sponsoring ZASLOW, we're partners. Sponsoring ZASLOW Show 2.0. Go to @ZASLOW Show on Twitter. You can see in my bio, there's an email, all that good stuff. I'd love to have you aboard. Maybe I'm a match. Maybe you're a match for me. We'll get together. We'll figure things out. So you go check that out, and we'll introduce the new sponsors to you throughout the show today. Super pumped to have them aboard. But I did the show last Monday morning, and I said to you guys, excuse me, I feel good. I'm good, but it's, back in the saddle today. It's gonna drain me a little bit, because you know how that goes when you've been sick and then you go back to work for the first day. Like, you feel good, but that first day of work, like, you're gonna be so drained at the end of the day. Anyway, do not feel sorry for me. Everything is good. So last week, I'm doing the show Monday morning, and remember how I started the show? Couple things. Number one, I said, yo, this is a bachelor pad. ZASLOW Mansion is a bachelor pad, because my wife is in Italy. By the way, today is Mrs. ZASLOW's birthday, all right? Love her long time. She's the best girl. So we got a big night planned tonight. I mean, come on, I got lots of special things planned for. She might get lucky. She might get lucky tonight. We'll see. We'll see how she behaves. But anyway, she was away all of last week. She was in Italy. So I told you, this is a bachelor pad, right? And everybody figured, oh, ZASLOW, you're not doing the show throughout the week because you've been living it up too much. So Monday morning, I started the show last week, and I told you guys, hey, you got to hang with me. I am hungover, which I thought was true, because I did some pretty good drinking last Sunday watching football. And as it turned out, no, that was not a hangover that I was feeling. That was, you're about to get deathly ill. You are about to be sick. You are about to live in a house of disease. That's what last week was. This was not a bachelor pad, the ZASLOW Mansion. The ZASLOW Mansion was a house of disease last week. I was so sick. It was one of those days where, on Tuesday I woke up, and that is kind of one of the cool things that I'm noticing, where you're your own boss. It's, all right, I'm not working, today, and I don't have to call anyone and say, oh, I don't feel well. No, it's like, all right, I'm not working today. I don't feel good. And so I couldn't do the show on Tuesday. Between Tuesday and Wednesday and a little bit of Thursday Thanksgiving, I was in bed 103 fever. Think about that. Here's the funny thing. Can I tell you something real quick? So now I tested negative for COVID, also tested negative for the flu. And we'll get to that. I mean, I had a lifesaver, and I'll get to that in a second. But I tested negative for that stuff. Remember when COVID first started, and you get the whole, and hey, I was part of this also. I was naive. You get the whole, it's not that big a deal. It's like the flu, all right? It's not so bad. Here's the thing. Now, I tested negative for the flu last week. It felt like I had the flu, but whatever it was, I tested negative. Whatever it was something similar to that. I had some kind of virus. Here's the thing where I was like, COVID, it's not that big a deal. Don't worry about it. It's like having the flu. I feel like people who say that don't remember, because maybe they haven't had it in a long time, what it's like to actually have the flu. Because having the flu is so bad. It's so bad. I had 103 fever. I was barely able to move. My head was pounding for 48 hours straight. It's such a bad experience. Like, COVID, don't worry about it. It's like having the flu. The flu is so bad. That's not going to make anyone feel better, and you don't have to worry about it because it's only like the flu. I thought I was dying last week, all right? That's what it reminded me of. It's like, COVID, it's not that bad. It's like the flu. Okay, I feel like I'm dying. But anyway, so I had 103 fever for a couple of days last week, and my younger son was sick also. He had a fever, stomach bug, not as bad as me. I didn't have a stomach bug, but he had a fever not as bad as me. So he's sick downstairs. I'm sick upstairs. My older son, he's trying to navigate staying away from both of us so he doesn't get sick. He's got the good immune system, so he's doing just fine. The good news is everyone is better. My wife got home safe. I'm feeling a whole lot better. I'm not 100%, but I'm good to go. So I wasn't off from the show. Like, I didn't not do the shows last week. I got tweets. You send me a tweet at ZASLOW Show. Instagram as well. I'm an influencer, but I love hearing from you guys. I'll get back to you right away. ZASLOW J on Instagram. And I'm getting messages, ZASLOW, bachelor lifestyle, getting at you. Like, nah, I didn't get to experience any of that. And by the way, missed out on Thanksgiving. What? Like, that's the worst part, right? Missed out on Thanksgiving. I was supposed to do Thanksgiving at my cousin's house, and me and my younger son, we missed out on Thanksgiving. We had to stay home. Didn't do anything for Thanksgiving. Isn't that the worst? Didn't do anything for Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I was legit sick last week. Last week was not fun. So, this is a good opportunity here for me to introduce one of our new sponsors. All right? So, I'm really sick I think it was on Wednesday. No, maybe it was Tuesday. I'm really sick on Tuesday last week. And I'm like, you know what? I got to call Dr. Alon, all right? Doctors on Call 365. It's an urgent care, South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. Think about that. How many times you're sick, you got to go in and see the doctor, you make the call, and it's like, all right, next appointment's in 2 weeks. But I'm sick right now. And you can't get in. Well, what if I told you that you can call a doctor and they come to your house and they check you out and they make sure that you get what you need and you're on your road to recovery? Would that be something you'd be interested in? Doctors on Call 365, South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. They treat children, adults, the elderly with minor illnesses, minor injuries. If you need IV fluids, vitamin therapy, test for COVID, for flu, for strep. I got tested for COVID and the flu right there in my living room. That's right. You got blood draws if you want. Dr. Alon can order x-rays for you, refill prescriptions. He set me up with a couple prescriptions, helped me get through the week and get back to recovery. Now, Doctors on Call 365 based in Broward County, but they serve Miami-Dade, also parts of Palm Beach as well. So if you call 786-577-9302 or visit doctorsoncall365.com, you're going to get a doctor coming over to your home. I called Dr. Alon. I said, hey, listen, I know we're partnering up here. You're going to be working with me starting next week. I figured, you know what? I'm going to get sick on purpose. Not true. And I'm going to have you come over. I'm going to test you out. And I'm going to see what you're made of. Well, thank God, all right? He was a lifesaver. Came over to my house that afternoon, gave me a COVID test, gave me a flu test right in my living room, all right? Prescribed me medication. I was good to go the next couple of days. I mean, a lifesaver. Think about that. What is it worth to avoid crowded emergency rooms, crowded urgent cares, if you could be seen and treated in the comfort of your home? To me, that's priceless, all right? Doctors on Call 365.com, 786-577-9302. A lifesaver for me. I'm not just telling you to use them. I use them myself. Dr. Lon, he'll make sure you're on your road to recovery. I mean, a blessing. So let's give it up. Glad to have them on board. Another sponsor on board here, ZASLOW Show 2.0, Doctors on Call 365. Really saved me. I had a fun weekend, though. I was glad I was able to recover. All right. I was able to somewhat get back to normal. And great weekend of pro wrestling. Great weekend of college football. You had Dolphins and Heat. How about the Heat? They've won 3 in a row. And we're back at it today at work. So really a good weekend. I'm disappointed, obviously, with the Panthers. The Hurricanes. Oh, my God. We'll get to the Hurricanes. What a poop show. Terrible job by the Canes. We'll get to that coming up. Anyway, and of course, also, always, this is week number, well, I guess this is technically week number 5, although, it didn't really do, week number 4 last week. So I guess this is technically week number 5, and all this is made possible, of course, by Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Title sponsor, you know that. Title sponsor from before day number 1. ZASLOW Show 2.0. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. Those guys believed in me from the get-go. I love them long time. By the way, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays to everybody out there. I didn't get to do a Thanksgiving, but nonetheless, I was thinking about all of you, and I was super thankful and super grateful for all of my listeners, ZASLOW Show 2.0, who have helped start this new venture, all of the sponsors, and all of our soon-to-be sponsors. All right, I'm super grateful. I'm super thankful for all of you guys. Let's get to some Dolphin football. So, after that turd burger on Saturday night at Hard Rock Stadium, you're figuring, all right, Sunday's going to be a little bit different. Sunday's going to be better. Sunday, we're going to have the Miami Dolphins, who we have not seen in a couple of weeks because you had the bye week. And the Dolphins obviously get out in front really early. And I sent a message to my buddy. I sent him a text message. I go, this Dolphin team, it's unbelievable. I just wrote, all I wrote was, this is some freaking team. And like that sums it up right there, right? This is some freaking team where they're so unfair if you're the other team's fan. Hill and Waddle are impossible. And Tua, like, you got to give McDaniel so much credit. And I talked about this before the season started. When we get to a place, if the Dolphins are good, if Tua's good, are we going to talk about McDaniel getting the credit, Flores getting the blame? Is it going to be 50-50? There's a lot to go around. And we're going to get to a little bit of Flores today, too. But the way McDaniel has catered this offense to Tua Tagovailoa, he gets the ball out so quick. He makes such good decisions. It's impossible for these DBs to stay right on top of Hill and Waddle. That the middle it's wide open every time. This team is so unfair for your defense to play against. And I feel like this now. I witnessed really good Dolphin teams. Late 80s, all the 90s. I mean, every Sunday, Marino, all right, we're going to win. And every year, this is the year we're going to win the Super Bowl. I've watched exciting Dolphins teams. I mean, it's been a while, but I've watched it. And it feels like this is a Dolphins team been waiting our whole life for, right? Like you're watching the game yesterday. This is the team I've been waiting my whole life for. Because it's not just it's not just the winning, they're super exciting. You feel like they're going to score every time they have the ball. Hell, they're 8-3 if Tua doesn't get hurt. You know, you get the Bengals game. The Bengals were kind of struggling at the time. The Jets, they should have beat the Jets. I know the Jets killed us. And what was the third game that I'm forgetting there? I'm forgetting whatever the third one. Oh, the Vikings. They almost won that game if Jalen Waddle didn't have the worst game of his career. Like 8-3 if Tua doesn't get hurt. I feel like we could be sitting here 10-1 or something. Whatever. Like, I'm asking for too much at that point, right? I'm being greedy. I don't want to be a pig. So, you feel like this is the team that you've been waiting your whole life for if you're of a certain age. And I can't believe how much fun these games are. And I'm sitting back and I'm saying to myself, this is the team of my lifetime. It really feels that way. So, the Dolphins crushed the Texans yesterday, but here's the thing. You know, and I made a comparison over the weekend. You know, the wrestling show we do, It's Still Real to Me, where Survivor Series War Games was a lot of fun, but the best moment happened at the end of the night, at the end of the show. Sami Zayn and the Usos, and oh my God, I loved it so much. It's one of my favorite moments in years watching pro wrestling this past Saturday night. And so it left a great excuse me, I'm sorry. It left a great taste in my mouth. No matter what happened the rest of the show, the way that night ended, oh my God, I love this so much. The Dolphin game was the opposite. First half of the Dolphin game, so it's 30-0. This is the most unfair team. This is the team of my lifetime. I've been waiting forever for this. I love it so much. Are the Dolphins winning the Super Bowl? Tua is locked in. Can't stop him. Hill, Waddle, unbelievable team. And the second half rolls around. By the way, it was a weird game because the Texans are like the worst rush defense, and Tua threw the ball, 33 times, I think, in the first half? Got taken out mid-third quarter. I think he passed the ball 3 more times, but 33, usually 33 is like his number for the game. 33 passes in the first half when you're going up against a team that is terrible at stopping the run. I mean, I guess the MO was, let's get out in front 30-0 and then run the ball the whole second half and end the game. But Teron Armstead gets hurt in the second half, and the whole thing implodes. The offensive line now cannot, I mean, it shows you how important Armstead is. The offensive line cannot protect Tua anymore. He's getting hit. He's taking sacks. And by the way, am I the only one who, obviously we're nervous about Tua, not just because of, you know, the head injury, but going back to college, hip injuries, he's been injury prone. So we're nervous every time he takes it anyway. But am I the only one who feels that every time Tua takes a hit or takes a sack, it looks worse when he gets hit compared to when other quarterbacks get hit? You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure it has a lot to do with, yeah, he's small. It's not like, you know, even last year, Jacoby Brissett, who's a big guy. You know, you take a big quarterback like that. It looks a lot worse because Tua's smaller, but it always looks worse with him. It looks awkward. I mean, hell, even the play, what was it, at the end of the first half where it looked like where it looked like he was getting crushed like an accordion, right? Which, by the way, was a super key play because Tua gets up, they have no timeouts, clock is running. Can you spike the ball in time? 1 second ring. That's some good home cooking with the clock management. You get the field goal, and you end up going into the half 30-0. You know, Tua's still having the frame of mind to get up on the ball. And he said that after the game, too, that the only thing going through his mind there was to spike the ball. That kid, he is such a winner. I love watching him play, man. Still manages to get to the line, stop the clock. That kid is awesome. I love him like a son. I love watching Tua play. But that was scary at the end of the half. Anyway, whenever Tua gets hit, it just looks different from everybody else on the field. Am I the only one who feels that way? It looks like he looks worse when he gets hit than everybody else. Anyway, thank God he ended up being okay. But like I was saying, you felt so great about the game, 30-0 halftime. But all of us here, you happy you won? We're going to move on to San Francisco next week. Very tough game. You got a lot of personal connections there. But that was a game yesterday. Left a sour taste in your mouth. Couldn't do anything in the second half once Armstead got hurt and left the game. And here's also the thing. Imagine this. A game that you were up 30-0. I was literally watching the clock in the fourth quarter, trying to figure out, can we just run this thing out? Can we get out of town before it becomes a one-score game? In a game that you were up 30-0 at halftime, I started worrying about the clock in the fourth quarter. The clock became our best friend in a game we were up 30-0. So, yeah, like, first half was amazing, offense and defense, and just so inept offensively in the second half once Teron Armstead got, left the game. And you're even thinking to yourself, like my son said to me, is it possible they put Tua back in the game? I mean, if the Texans had the ball with, 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, if they would have scored there, it was 30-12. If they would have scored a touchdown there instead of a field goal, and it's 30-20, it's a 10-point game with 8 or 9 minutes left. You got to put Tua back in the game. Like, okay, you pull him at 30-0, or maybe it was 30-6 when they pulled him. It's one thing to pull the quarterback 30-0. Makes all the sense in the world. You don't pull your quarterback when you're up by 10 with half the fourth quarter to go. They would have had to put Tua back in the game. Now, I don't know if they actually would have, but a game that they were up 30-0 at halftime, I was just staring at the clock to keep moving in the fourth quarter. So you weren't left with a good taste in your mouth. That's going to be the big storyline this week, is what are they going to do about that offensive line? Because Teron Armstead is now apparently he avoided serious injury. It's a strain, a pectoral strain, not a tear. But apparently that, you're going to miss a couple weeks with that. So they're going to be without Armstead for a little bit as opposed to without Armstead for a lot of bit. So they kind of dodge a bullet in that regard.